What up, people? I'm the Godless engineer, and since yesterday was Good Friday, I thought that I would do just a little off the top of my head video about this time of year, about Good Friday, Easter, and all that kind of jazz. As you guys know, I am a mythicist. I don't think that Jesus actually existed. Now, hold on to your butts there for a minute. I know that some of you out there think that Jesus existed, and that's fine. I'm not here to criticize you, but I am here to kind of lay out my general summary of why I don't think that he did. I feel like this is important around this time of year because a lot of people like to celebrate Easter and whatnot. Well, I am coming out with a video tomorrow on Sunday about Easter traditions in general. I feel that it's important to kind of summarize why I feel that the execution of Jesus is bullshit, as well as, the resurrection. Now, starting off with the execution of Jesus, let's start with Pilate, okay? Pilate in the Bible is a total 180 from the actual Pilate of history. The Pilate that we know that is recorded by other historians that has been known for a while. And that Pilate is a ruthless motherfucker, okay? You can't sit there and tell me that Pilate would be washing his hands clean of some Jew's blood when he regularly would kill Jews without having a second thought about it. At one point in his career, he actually had people like dressed in civilian clothing get in the middle of a crowd like a protest and just start killing motherfuckers at the drop of a finger. He slept like a baby that night. He did not give a rat's ass about killing a whole bunch of innocent people. So why would he wash his hands clean of this one Jew? Okay, not to mention the fact that this one Jew was tried in an overnight court, which was wholly illegal by Jewish standards. They would have been offending God in order to do this, so it doesn't really make sense that they would have done it the way that the Bible spouts it, but let's give them that. But the Pilate thing is bullshit, okay, because he's totally different from what the history tells us. Now, the Bible has done this with other figures in history, namely Herod. When Jesus was born, Herod called for the slaughter of the innocents. Well, apparently, it was not so much of a big deal for Herod to say, hey, go kill all these fucking children out there because supposedly there's supposed to be this big king that's born right now and whatnot, and I'm scared of him. Apparently, that wasn't so much big of a news story, but him choking out his two sons was a bigger story for the Romans because that made it around. Like, that was noticed, but killing a whole bunch of kids wasn't fucking noticed at all. No siree. Now, to continue with the execution of Jesus, we have the curious case of Barabbas. Now, of course, Barabbas' name is kind of, really tied to Jesus' name and everything, because basically what you have are two sons of God up there. Yes, two sons of God. Barabbas wasn't declared a son of God, but his name is indicative of such title. So you have one son of God and another son of God. One son of God is let go into the wilderness to carry away the sins of Israel. The other one is sacrificed, as a blood sacrifice to God. This is the Yom Kippur ritual. It is a direct copy of it from the Jewish traditions. So you can't use any of that to say that Jesus was definitely real, because this more than likely didn't happen, because it correlates so well with an established tradition in the Jewish community. Now, to get on to the crucifixion and all that, well, minus the magical elements of it, like the darkness and the earthquakes and all that shit that, historians at the time didn't record happening. Well, let's just go with the execution. There's nothing to suggest that Jesus was actually executed. Were people being executed in such a fashion in first century Judea? Sure, why not? Right? I mean, we have records and evidence of that happening. Do we have records and evidence of this Jewish prophet being executed? Fuck no. We don't at all. But it's in the historical community. of Christians, it's undeniable that he was executed, but they offer no evidence whatsoever to suggest that he was executed. It's just undeniable. You ask them for evidence and they just say, well, it's undeniable. Everybody agrees. Okay, well, you know what? An appeal to authority or a bandwagon fallacy just isn't going to cut it in this situation. You need to have actual evidence. And the sad fact is that we don't have evidence for Jesus being crucified. Not only that, but in the canonical Gospels, they have Jesus dying on different days. And then in John, there's a whole 3 years time span where Jesus, isn't dying. Like in John, from the time that he starts his ministry to the time that he dies, it's 3 years. But in the canonical Gospels, it happens immediately. So you've got a 3-year gap there between the canonical Gospels and John. Which one's fucking right? Could there really be a 3-year gap in there somewhere that these fucking historians were or not historians, but these writers, they weren't fucking historians. These people that wrote this shit down was just oh yeah, that happened the very next day. When nope, it happened 3 years later. These things should make you question it. But there's also the curious case of when he was, carrying his cross up there. For one thing, the Romans, they wouldn't have made, they wouldn't have made somebody from the crowd get up and help him up there to carry his cross, right? They wouldn't have done that. But yet, in the canonical Gospels, there's a contradiction in there that has 2 different people carrying the cross. Now, when you actually get to the execution part where he's up on the cross and everything, in the Gospels, there's different versions of what he says before he dies. But all of them correlate to different things in the Old Testament. So they were already in existence. They were already there. All they had to do was copy and paste into Jesus' death scene. It's really fucking lazy writing, if you ask me. Now, to go to the empty tomb, as you all know, 4 different Gospels, 4 different fucking stories about how it was, slapped away, or how the tomb was found empty. In one, you just have 2 women finding it, and then they flee off like a couple of women would do. And then you got women finding it, and then an angel coming down, slapping the thing away, and then being like, Jesus ain't here, bitches! Go find him elsewhere! And then after that, you have even more contradictions. So, not to harp on it too much. And if you want to know more, I suggest you watch my Did Jesus Exist series, because I go into this in a lot deeper detail. For you to see all of these contradictions, to see all of these problems with it, to realize that Harry Potter has less holes in it than this fucking story, to know all of that, but still be like, nope, that's historical. That's historical as fuck. Is amazing to me. For you not to question it, at least question it, is amazing to me. I'm not going to say that you're stupid, retarded, or anything like that. I'm just saying that it's pretty fucking amazing that you wouldn't at least question it. You wouldn't at least investigate it. And that's what I'm coming here today to you to do, is really pique your interest and investigate this stuff. I'm in support of this group out of Milwaukee called Mythicist Milwaukee. I highly suggest you checking them out on Facebook and just everywhere else, because they have great information that they put out. They also have a podcast that they do every single Sunday. I really want you guys to check that out because I fully support them. There's going to be a debate in October. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be interviewing some people throughout, the year up until that point. So I hope that you will join me. But all in all, the resurrection and the execution of Jesus is not substantiated by evidence at all. It is only substantiated by blind faith. And that's it. They don't have evidence. Evidence doesn't exist for those particular things. The only evidence that exists is contained in the Bible. And you can't use the Bible to verify the Bible. I realize that there are historical elements in the Bible, but when the Bible is the only claim for those particular things, you can't use that. That's bad research. That's not how historians do it. So, thank you for joining me today. I hope that you will go down below and hit that like button. Also, subscribe. And I will see you guys next time.